First, what is Bitcoin? Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency. It is a digital currency, so unlike your fiat currency, your paper notes that are created by the government, Bitcoin is virtual. It lives on the blockchain network. The first Bitcoin was created in 2009 by someone unknown under the alias Satoshi Nakamoto. After that, Bitcoin can be mined by miners generated from the collective computing power of individuals and pools of people working together to verify transactions that take place on the blockchain network. In turn, in reward for their computing power, their time and effort, they are rewarded with newly created Bitcoin. So that is how Bitcoin is created. Bitcoin can be used as a medium of exchange, just like your normal currency, except that it can only be transacted through the blockchain network. It can be sent from user to user, but without the need for an intermediary like a bank. Why would people want to invest in Bitcoin? Well, Bitcoin can be seen as an alternative asset class that enables you to diversify your asset portfolio. Just like gold, it has a low correlation with the stock market. That means that it tends not to mimic the movement of a stock market, but instead it tends to move against the direction of the stock market. So when the economy goes into a dip and the stock market follows, then people usually flock into safe haven assets like gold, and we see that people have also been pouring funds into Bitcoin investment, which has been driving up the price increase over the past few months this year. So Bitcoin can be seen as a hedge against the stock market volatility. Also, Bitcoin, like gold, is sort of anti-inflationary. It counters inflation. Unlike fiat currency, which the value can be manipulated by central banks, we see central banks across the world, they are pursuing expansionary monetary policies to either print more money, inject it to the economy in the hopes that people will spend more, and this will boost the economy and increase employment. But this has a negative effect in that it will lead to inflation. Because people have more money to spend now, with the government printing out more money, they will demand more goods and services, but if supply does not increase at the same pace as demand, then according to the basic laws of demand and supply in economics, prices of goods and services will rise. So you have inflation. It just means that $1,000 today will buy less in terms of goods and services in a year later in the future. Bitcoin, on the other hand, it is limited in supply. There will only be a maximum amount of 21 million Bitcoins in circulation, with the last Bitcoin being mined in the year 2140. It is this scarcity value that gives it an anti-inflationary effect, which is opposite to the fiat currency that we have. Now let us analyze the price performance of Bitcoin so far. You can see on the left, there is a chart of the Bitcoin price from 2016 until now, November 2020. The current price level, it has just reached USD 18,700. If you had invested in Bitcoin at the beginning of this year, you would have made about 260% gains. While if you had invested in Bitcoin at the March 2020 low, you would have made about 419% gains from its low at USD 3,600. Wow, only Tesla stock had a comparable gain, so Bitcoin has actually performed really well among all asset classes. We can also see that the current price now is really close to Bitcoin's all-time high reached in 2017, which is just under 20,000 USD. So currently we are only around 6% away from the 2017 all-time high. So a key level of interest for every trader to watch out for is whether Bitcoin will be able to breach that USD 20,000 resistance level. Of course, the key question would be what will happen once Bitcoin reached that USD 20,000 level? Will it drop once it reached that all-time high? Well, there's always the risk of sellers taking profits at that historical high level, because traders, they often refer back to historical prices for their future trades. Or it could be that Bitcoin breaks through that USD 20,000 resistance level and continue its upward momentum, continuing its bull run to reach, 30,000 USD. Some even say 100,000 USD. That's crazy, but anything is possible. If Bitcoin is able to hold its USD 20,000 level for a sustained period without selling pressure bringing it down, then it is likely that it will continue to climb upwards further and further because more investors will be attracted to Bitcoin market, new ones due to fear of missing out, and possibly even the old ones that have gotten burned in 2017, experienced a loss, but now they see that, oh, this time the all-time high is going to create another all-time high. So they will rush in and, well, I would be interested to see how high Bitcoin price can reach then. The key drivers of Bitcoin price include the following as outlined above in the gray section. Growing institutional demand. We have seen that through the first half of 2020, more than 20 financial institutions with assets ranging from USD 10 million to more than 5 billion revealed that they hold Bitcoin via the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, which is a publicly traded investment vehicle that owns Bitcoin. In October 2020, payments company Square even invested USD 50 million in Bitcoin, becoming the latest large institution plowing money into Bitcoin. We have seen that also, BlackRock CIO of fixed income Rick Rader discussing Bitcoin on CNBC, saying that millennials favor Bitcoin and that Bitcoin becoming more of a mainstream payment option now. These are major positive factors driving the Bitcoin price upwards. Also, there is low selling pressure in the Bitcoin market. We have seen that although prices have increased from a low of 3,600 to reach the current high now, yet selling pressure is still low, indicating that Bitcoin miners and those still holding their Bitcoin are not interested to sell their Bitcoin for now. Additionally, weaker stock market sentiment, growing unemployment cases across the globe, coupled with growing coronavirus cases and a delay in effective mass vaccination, all this bode well for Bitcoin because Bitcoin is traditionally seen as a hedge against stock market volatility. Another positive key driver for Bitcoin would be growing inflationary concerns. When the stock market continues to be weak, sentiment continues to be bad, then central banks across the world, they would pursue expansionary monetary policies, print more money and inject it to the economy in order to boost demand. But we know that according to the law of economics, demand and supply, if people have more money, but national output supply is not increasing, then this increase in demand for goods and services will drive up prices and we will have inflation. Well, that would be for fiat currency, your paper notes and coins. This would reduce in real value over the years. But Bitcoin, it acts against inflation due to its limited supply. An important event to watch out for would be the upcoming December 16th meeting for the US Federal Reserve, whether the Federal Reserve will be likely to boost its monthly purchase of treasuries from the market in its attempt to boost the economy. If it does, then, well, inflation will likely be higher next year. In fact, Christine Noting, Global Chief Investment Officer at Deutsche Bank Wealth Management, said that inflation could rise moderately in 2021 and 2022, boding well for gold and, of course, Bitcoin, which share similar characteristics. Personally, I'm invested in Bitcoin. My first investment was actually in May 2020, just before the halving of Bitcoin occurred. Halving of Bitcoin occurs every 4 years, so well, this year was one of the years, and it is expected that after every decline in supply, the price of Bitcoin will be driven up. So I sort of took a bet on it, and until now, I would say the gains are pretty good. And recently, I've also invested a bit more into Bitcoin, mostly driven by the fact that I've been reading about Bitcoin and I saw that a lot of institutional funds actually putting in money into Bitcoin right now to hedge against the stock market volatility as well as inflationary concerns. So yeah, Bitcoin can be an alternative asset class that you can consider for your investment portfolio, but it may not be for everyone because Bitcoin is a volatile asset. You can see that from its 2017 all-time high of just under 20,000 USD, if you bought it at that time and you held it for like 1 year after that, the price actually crashed from that all-time high level by 80% just within 1 year. So imagine if you bought at an all-time high and then you cut loss at that low level, you would have lost 80% of the wealth that you invested in Bitcoin. Yes, that is a pretty big loss. But then you could also make really high returns on Bitcoin, like what I showed earlier. If you invested at the start of the year or during the March lows, you would have made like few 100% gains on Bitcoin. High return comes with high risk. So Bitcoin is not suitable for every type of investor. It really depends on your investment and risk profile, your risk appetite. How much do you want to make within the next few years? Are you more of a long-term investor or a short-term investor? Do you intend to just make a quick buck, few 100% gains within the short term? What if the price level crash? Do you need that money now? Will you be able to have the holding power to hold it through a few years? If those people that bought it during the 2017 all-time high, they sold it at the low in 2018, they would have experienced an 80% loss. If they have the holding power and they hold it through until now, well, 3 years later, it is just about break even for them. If they hold it through continuing into the next year, they may be able to see some gains, even though, well, it has been a few years that transpired, but, well, a loss is not realized until you actually sell an asset and get the returns in cash, whatever is remaining. So holding power is something to take into consideration as well, along with your risk appetite, what type of investor you are, the time frame for your investment, whether you need funds fast to finance your commitments, your debt, whether you're investing for your retirement or you're more of a short-term investor. So all this have to be taken into consideration. I'm not sure where Bitcoin will be headed next, up or down. For me, I'm more bullish compared to bearish. But whether you invest in Bitcoin or not, it is something for you to think about. The returns versus the risk. In every sort of investment, there will be some level of risk, but then there will also be some potential reward. So it depends on you. You can calculate your own reward to risk ratio, and then you decide whether Bitcoin is a good investment for you. Maybe you might be bullish because you think, oh, the next year the economy is still going to be poor because coronavirus or some other type of thing will continue to keep everyone in negative sentiment. Or maybe you think that, oh, vaccines are being approved. By next year, we might probably see mass vaccination, and this would drive up investor confidence. People would be more confident to start spending again. Everything will be better for the stock market. And if that's the case, then the stock market may be a better investment for you. Well, it really depends on what you think. So what are your thoughts? Would you invest in Bitcoin now, or would you take a step back, monitor it, whether it would breach the 20,000 level or not, and you then decide to enter? Or maybe Bitcoin is just not for you. Leave your comments in the comment section below. And also, if you like this type of content, do like this video, maybe give me a subscribe, and I would be willing to and happy to share more of this type of content with you. Thank you for listening. And oh, I also have a referral code for you. If you are a fellow Malaysian and you would like to start investing in Bitcoin or other type of cryptocurrency like Ethereum, Litecoin, you can do so by registering on the Luno exchange. And there is a referral code for you that you can use my referral code, and you will be able to get, I think, RM25 Bitcoin for free once you sign up and invest for the first time in Bitcoin. So happy investing, and I love to hear your thoughts on investment as well. Share them with me. Thank you.